So I'm with my boy Keith. Keith Knowles.
What's going on?
All right. So we happen to be down in this area in the West End where we both grew up, different generations. But I'll give you guys a little taste of it. I'm gonna do another little, my last short story I've been doing about, the the dark events I witnessed. But every time a guy like him and I come down here, there's a certain feeling. This shit never leaves you, man. I don't want to hog the mic, Keith. Anything you want to say? Because we're just winging it and doing this shit. What's going on with you, Keith, man?
Nothing much, man. Just laying low now, man. Getting ready to start to finish the summer class, man. Interestingly enough, the class I just finished has to do with I'm studying conflict resolution, and it's funny, we're down here, we're talking about all the violence that occurred, and I think you mentioned it numerous times that in your generation and in mine, most of the violence, most of the gunplay, this area is where it happened. You know what I mean? Statistically.
That's right. That's right.
So it's interesting that, I wonder how much, living that every day had a part of me now at 44 years old, having a desire to play some type of role in resolving conflict.
I was just going to say, it's something like resolving something. Coming down here. But anyway, continue, Keith. I like listening to what you have to say.
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, I just, it's funny that I just came off that class, and then, we ended up linking together today, and we're back in the neighborhood and having those discussions, and I'm wondering if there's a relationship. And I think it kind of ties in me thinking about what the relationship might be between the upbringing and what I want to do now, ties into what you were saying in the first place, how different, things in this circumstance or this environment, it affects you one way or another. You know what I mean? Now,
sometimes you don't know for another 3 decades can pass before you actually feel it. I was in the cell in high security writing about something, an event down here, and all of a sudden I got overwhelmed with, a lot of past things that I was involved in or witnessed, whatever. I don't want to make it sound like I had some type of breakdown. Oh my God, no. But it's like coming to terms with, a lot of people don't know who they really are. Once you start to realize who you really are, right? And how and why you got there and all, and then you come back to that place like this, which helped me, I don't know how to explain it. It's not helped me like psychologically, I need all this help, but the anger and stuff I was carrying around, I started feeling ill over it. I read some psychology about it, criminal psychology, whatever. And so I come to realize there's ways to resolve it and get to the bottom of that anger and that rage. And part of it is like either coming down here like Keith does. He does something about it. If he could help this community, he would quickly. I'm not that generous of a spirit, but because I'm still working on myself. But anyway, Keith, before I keep rambling on.
No, well, I wouldn't say that, first of all, because second of all, you give back in your own way by capturing the thoughts and doing the writing and the videos that you do. On the one hand, yeah, it might be a little therapeutic to you too, but on the other hand, people that get to listen to it, man, other guys that went through it and might have not have had a way to articulate it or express it or couldn't express it, they hear a guy like you saying it, and it gives them permission to think about it in a new way, to understand it in a deeper way.
That's exactly right.
So that's
when they hear it coming from a real dude, and a guy like me or Keith is telling you we identify with you, now a guy will listen because he feels like it's coming from a place he can identify with. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I think this is the other thing, Dino, right? Like you said, you come from an environment like this, you go through and you witness the things you did. It has an effect on you. You're human. Now, some people, it might have an effect, for whatever reason, they might not have been built with a strong enough constitution or resilience. They might not have enough resilience. So it might break them down in certain different ways. And I'm not here to make those judgments. But some guys, they internalize it, and then it comes out in violence, or it comes out in ambition, it comes out in other ways. But like you said, either way, if you don't kind of realize what that is, it's going to continue to have a negative effect. Whether you control it enough where you're not breaking down, it's still having a negative effect. You're taking it out on people around you. You're putting yourself in the can. You're doing all type of stuff,
And then I want to interrupt what we're speaking on, just to touch on this thing here, what you're looking at, this empty lot. Like, you heard me tell the story about the house being firebombed, okay? And this is where it happened. I lived here. We had like a 2-family or 1-family home, whatever. There was 3 floors. And there was another house of the same kind of design. And the fire was so bad. I always tell you see the power lines? The flames were licking out at the power lines there. That's how far out they were. probably like 15 feet or better. But it burnt down the house next door as well. That was over there. This thing is still empty. That happened in 1974, and it's with me like it happened yesterday. My whole family was got wiped out on that night. But this is the West End. When I say we talk about the West End, we're talking about so much of our soul is embedded in this. The crime, the violence, the sadness, even the happiness. Me, I wasn't an unhappy kid. I liked it. I didn't understand that I was ruining my life by embracing all these negative things that I liked so much. But I liked being a criminal in the streets. What can I say? That's like, unfortunately, those were the people that inspired me. Those were the adult, what's the term I'm looking for, Keith? When you're
role models.
Role models. There you go. And I embraced them. I thought they knew what they were doing, especially the ones that were running. You got to forgive the chaotic camera stuff, but you know what? Sometimes I like it like that because you're getting the real me. I'm not trying to sit down like a newscaster. We're just a couple of hood kids running through the hood. I don't want to say hood. We're kids that got the hood in us, but with bigger aspirations in life now. But you'll never forget where you come from. I ran into a woman the other day I knew down here since I was a kid. I haven't seen her in 40 years. And she said to me, it never leaves you, does it, Dan? Right? She was right. But anyway, in any event, I don't want to ramble on that. I did want to come down and tell a story. I don't know if I ran out of time. I think I got 10 more minutes to put into this. Because I've been doing videos on... Matter of fact, I'll do that video different because me and Keith are down here talking about all this stuff. I'll keep this video. I
got something I'd like to say with that too, Dino, because the other day I was in a class, so I'm as we told the viewers before, I'm in Boston University doing a theology degree, doing.
Can I pull over and smoke a cigarette right here real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna pull over right here real quick while Keith is doing this, so I can smoke.
But we're in this class and we're talking about restorative justice practice, and we had this interesting conversation. Now you got to understand, I'm in a room full of individuals that it's diverse to some degree. They come from different environments, but I'm really at this point in time probably one of the only, if not the only kid in the room that comes from this type of environment that we're talking about and has this justice impacted background, right? Yep. So we're having this conversation in a peacekeeping, conflict transformation, restorative justice type of class, and we're doing this exercise where you have an object on you and you're kind of explaining the origin of the object. So I have this silver Cuban link chain that I bought on vacation in Puerto Rico with my fiance and my stepdaughter, and I'm explaining to them the significance behind it, right? And the significance was that in the 90s, guys were out here, they was moving drugs around, they were selling drugs to try to peddle past the oppression, and a chain was like a status symbol. A big gold chain was like a status symbol. And it said two things, really. It said
gold chain was.
Yeah, exactly. So it said two things. It said, one, that you were out here making something out of nothing and getting money. And the second thing it said was, I'm fucking strong enough to defend it.
Right.
Forgive the language.
Yeah.
So I'm explaining to this class of seminary students, all from different walks of life, but none of them really from this walk of life. I'm explaining to them this status symbol and this mentality, however immature it may be, right? And I'm telling them that now, for the first time in my life, I'm working. I'm not doing that type of stuff no more, and I'm trying to do positive things in this world, right? And I wanted to grab a chain because it's still me. That era, that essence is still me. Right. And what I told them, and this is what I'm saying to your point right here, Dean, is that there's things, however wrong we might have been in society's eyes, however wrong we might have been even in our own eyes now when we look back on it, there's a certain strength, there's a certain intelligence, there's a certain creativity, there's certain positive qualities that get bred into you in that type of environment. So what I was explaining to this room full of seminary students who come from different backgrounds than us was like, listen, that environment is not all bad. So the key for guys like us is to take the good qualities from it, to understand some of the things that you were explaining earlier, right? And to take that and channel it and do what you want to do.
I say something like the fact that you're sitting in a room with these people, without them, if they don't know like your history, they have this trust for you, because people tend to think, as soon as they hear your history, we can't trust them, we can't have them around. But if you walk in that room and they don't know your history, they embrace you wholeheartedly, and then they find out later, and then they're all right with it. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, that makes perfect sense.
it goes to what you're saying about the good qualities that are instilled in us. You're just not channeling it the right way. My loyalty to people, I have some friends in my life because they understand that whole thing, and the loyalty that I have to people is like, it's mind blowing to them. They thought I was just a moralist fucking alley cat. You understand? But as Keith was saying, you have these qualities instilled in you that are in this life. You're doing a lot of bad shit, but for instance, I hate to even use this but let's say we're in the life and he's in trouble. All right, he's in big trouble. He's in a situation that most people won't go to. They'd rather call the cops or something. Now, this ain't about calling the cops now. My point is, I'm going to go there and risk my life to save my friend's life. Now, you might look at it, the whole thing could be wrong, but that's a good quality in a sense, because now if you turn that around in your so-called normal life, and that quality is instilled in you, you may save a guy under different circumstances. That have to be a criminal, but my point is, we don't let people down that are our friends.
Right.
So there's a big misunderstanding about that, but Keith explains it better, which is why I'd rather let him hand the mic.
You brought out a good point, and I'll give you another quality off the bat that's real good: an ability to think outside the box. We're innovators. We think outside the box, right? And I'll illustrate that again. I'm in BU, which is a tier 1 research school.
Oh yeah, Boston University, by the way.
There's only 146 schools out of 5,000 that reach that status. That's how good of a school it is. I'm sitting in a room with PhDs and everybody else, and somebody never fails to point out how intelligent or how they like my thinking. Now, I don't say that to toot my own horn. I say that to illustrate the point that Dean's making. Anything the way that I think outside the box, or the way that I go to that environment, a room full of scholars, and be able to look at something the way none of them are able to look at it, is because that gets bred into you in this environment.
That's right.
You were given nothing. You're facing different obstacles. You have to think outside the box to maneuver and survive. That gets instilled into you. That's a good quality. You know what I mean?
It's amazing to me, the people that I know, not necessarily friends, but a lot of people I've run into, I've worked or whatever, all right, they don't need a guy like me until they need a guy like me. They call me every time they're in an emergency situation. The first person they call is me, even if I'm half a stranger to them, because they know that I have an ability to help them work through that situation that otherwise they can't do with their so-called normal society. No, I'm not saying something negative about the hard-working regular guy, because I really respect that. I'm just trying to make the point that sometimes guys like me ain't needed till I'm needed. You know, people keep me away. They think I'm trouble, but the moment they're in trouble in a situation they can't think of and get out of, they call me. I'm always amazing. And then they conveniently forget that I could be in a situation, and they don't respond the way I would have. Now, that ain't always the case, but I'm just making a point. That's one of the things that happens to guys like us. People keep us, they want to, not bench us, what's the word I'm looking for? They want to keep us at a distance until they need us. Now, maybe that sounds a little negative to you, but can you imagine being me, how that feels to a guy like me? Like, you don't really want me around until you need me around. That's kind of fucked up, but that happens a lot. I don't know if you experienced that, Keith.
I definitely experienced
I don't even like to bring it up because it sounds negative, but hey, if I'm telling you the way things are in my life, I might as well throw that in too. Otherwise, I'd be fucking full of shit.
I think it ties in, Dino, too. I think everything that we're talking about here in this conversation, and again, this all came about naturally on a ride through, the old neighborhood.
We just pulled over and started telling the video because that's what it is.
I think that the bottom line here is that as different as this environment can be to the average citizen, the average person, and as negatively as it can be viewed, there's definitely positive qualities that get bred into a person in this environment, and we just named a bunch. And I think the bottom line of what we're talking about here is, how does a guy, if he's fortunate enough to survive through that and get to this age and have his freedom and have some relative help, how does a guy make sense of all that, take all the good qualities, think his way through all the negative qualities, and try to grow, man, and try to figure out what he wants to do with the rest of his days.
I'll tell you, what a difficult period in your life when you're making that transition. A lot of people don't understand. It comes with a lot of stress, a lot of grief, a lot of thinking outside the box, a lot of positive stuff, but you do the kind of time Keith and I have done, and then trying to transition back to so-called normal life, whatever you want to call it. Let me tell you, what a goddamn journey it's been. It's harder for some guys than others. And we make it look easy. You think everything in our life is all right, but really, we're sitting on a time bomb ain't the word, but we're sitting on this pressure. It's like sitting on top of a volcano trying to hide it because you don't want your loved ones concerned. Right. Sometimes it's not that he wants to go back. He said you can be lost, man. It gets very, very difficult.